Hello everyone, Scotty here. Today's question comes from Michaela Alsap. Michaela writes, how can you tell the difference between Asperger's and ADHD, OCD, and social anxiety? Well, Michaela, this question is not nearly so easily answered as it may seem. First, we must understand how disorders like OCD and social anxiety disorder are created. My choice of the word created may seem inappropriate, but allow me to explain my reasoning. Psychologists and psychiatrists all around the world rely on the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual to identify and treat a rapidly growing list of hundreds of mental disorders. You would think a universally utilized diagnostic manual would allow treatment providers to objectively identify mental disorders, but this is hardly the case. If you were to seek mental health treatment from 5 different doctors, each using the DSM to determine your diagnosis, you could potentially receive 5 or more differing diagnoses and courses of treatment. There are no objective biological tests used to determine diagnoses. The DSM is the Bible of modern psychiatry. In Harper Lee's wonderful book To Kill a Mockingbird, Atticus Finch states, "The Bible in one man's hand can be as dangerous as a bottle of whiskey in another's." I feel that this quote is particularly relevant when discussing the DSM. There is little, if any, objective science used in the formulation of this manual. Disorders and their symptoms are simply voted in by a body of mental health professionals who often have highly different opinions. Passionate arguments arise at these gatherings, and the party who argues loudest and longest will determine the direction of a manual used to diagnose and treat millions of people. Homosexuality was once considered a mental disorder, and criteria for its diagnosis was included in the first and second editions of the DSM. Due to political pressure resulting from an increasingly accepting social attitude towards gays, homosexuality was not included as a diagnosis in the DSM-3. Being gay, I appreciate the revision, but true science is not susceptible to the influence of changing political climates. Lacking any objective forms of testing and diagnoses, psychiatry simply cannot be considered a true science. Had I been diagnosed even a few years earlier than I was, I would have Asperger's disorder. However, Asperger's disorder, autistic disorder, and pervasive developmental disorder not otherwise specified were replaced in the DSM-5 by an umbrella term, autism spectrum disorder. I am recording a video using my computer, which I will soon post on YouTube and promote on my fan page. Yet I carry the same diagnostic label as many my age who wear diapers, cannot speak, and have never used a computer in their lives. What does this mean? What is the difference between autism and other disorders? Many autistic self-advocates do not believe that autism is a disorder at all, and do not feel that autism should be treated. Instead, they believe that autism's comorbidities are what should be treated. These comorbidities include ADHD, generalized anxiety disorder, obsessive-compulsive disorder, oppositional defiant disorder, social anxiety, Tourette syndrome, etc. Yet these diagnoses are semantic reflections of the symptoms used to define autism spectrum disorder. So if you remove these comorbidities in an attempt to isolate the characteristics used to identify autism, what are you left with? Thin air. The autism diagnosis is a house of cards. I have said before that I do not believe in autism. I believe in individuals. To be fair, I have encountered enough people diagnosed with autism that I can now say I know it when I see it, for the most part. But what am I seeing and identifying? It is nearly impossible to say. I know when a person is eccentric, though I do not need a diagnostic manual to notice their eccentricity. I know when a person is charismatic, but I couldn't identify a specific set of criteria met by all charismatic people. The essence of an individual cannot be captured by a label. So, what is the difference between ASD, ADHD, and OCD? Well, it's all alphabet soup to me. Anyway, thank you for your question, Michaela. Sorry for all the ambiguities, that's just the way it is. Thank you also to everyone who has watched this video.